Moving on to our fourth topic, support in the way they want it. So, actually, we found that after the pandemic, people are feeling a little bit more stressed about booking, especially for international trips, and they need a little bit more help in making their final decisions, booking the trips. And one of the things that might happen is that they get stuck in what we call the messy middle, in the sense that they get stuck in like a continuous loop where they're exploring their options until eventually something triggers them to make that final decision. And actually, the average accommodation purchase journey lasts 36 days and involves 45 touch points. So that's a lot of places where you could lose the person. What do you think in terms of support that hotels could do to increase their direct bookings?
I mean, and also increase the direct bookings, like as we spoke in the previous one as well. They should know like what they are targeting, so their target audience and the messages they are putting in inline or like pop-ups should be aligned to their target audience. That's what they should focus upon. Like if I'm targeting the audience from the Europe in the summers and or in the Mediterranean, then I should be showing them those ones which should actually resonate with those. So I we should always have a specific like set of target, like where or whom we are targeting upon.
I also think what Chanson mentioned earlier, actually, about showing the USPs in the booking engine, for example. I think that especially with the messy middle is the problem that, the guest Googles your hotel, goes to the website, looks at your hotel, goes to the booking engine, goes back, lands directly in the booking engine, and then somewhere along the way, the USPs kind of get forgotten. So it's so important to have these things there in the booking engine so that you eliminate the factor of them having to bound back and forth to see, do you have a restaurant? Do you have a nice view? And my pet peeve, the coffee machine. It's nice if you have a coffee machine in the room, but having USPs in the booking engine that are really like specific to your hotel, something that is like a little bit of like an insider knowledge. I know that one of our customers here in the Netherlands also has a stunning view from the bar upstairs. So, they have the USP of saying perfect view over the entirety of Amsterdam, for example, at sunset. So really put in these things that make your hotel you. The second one, I think, is to understand what your hotel stands for. So we have a customer in Switzerland who's actually doing this, for example, adding quotes to your website. If you have a hotel where people come in and usually have the sense of familiarity, how can you put that on the website as well? So maybe adding quotes from your staff members to give that sense, or when they're in the booking engine, for example, scrolling up and down and not really making a next move towards like move further in the process, show a little button and say, call the reception to answer any questions or you need help with. So really establishing the relationship online, just as you would do offline as well.
In order to use the advantage of messy middle, maybe it would be also like a nice opportunity where the hoteliers can show USP comparison tables on their booking engine, like the things that they are providing and not the things that the people can find in other OTAs. So that might be like a one last push in order to convince the website visitors to complete their booking on the direct channel.
I think also not always to look at, okay, I brought this and this much traffic into my booking engine and didn't convert, but actually looking at really how to optimize step by step, like the entire user journey. So looking at where do you have like the higher drop-off rates on your website, but also in the booking engine, and to look at opportunities of where you can move more traffic into the next step. Where do you need to maybe enhance the user journey, make it simpler, bring the right content forward? Yeah, those kind of options.
I feel like we're like being super repetitive about this one, but this just so like shows how important it is to really understand who is your guest and who is not your guest. So I think the more is not always the better. So you don't necessarily need to be on all the channels with social media, email, chat bots, you name it, but really understand what is relevant to the person who actually is your guest and who you also want your guest to be. So thinking about how do these people communicate? Do they prefer to maybe give you a direct call? Others maybe want to have this quick interaction of saying in the chat bot, can I bring my dog? And then there's a quick answer, yes, we'll supply food bowls. Yeah, some people maybe want to fax. I mean, you never know, right? But really understand who your target audience is and how you can actually cater to these people rather than just doing everything a little bit.
And I think also a lot of feedback of like your actual like bookers is left at the conversations that a guest has with the reservation team. So either like while calling up, while emailing, or their experience at the hotel when checking in. There are a lot of moments where they're providing feedback, and to take that feedback into consideration to remember what was it that they were looking for, where were there maybe frustrations, to look for those areas of improvement, to make those changes immediately. So if it is a hotel where the majority of your guests just really like to have a phone conversation and to ask about the facilities, to make that reservation with your team instead of booking online, then keep that in mind and give the opportunity to easily reach out to your reservation team, and make also sure that you have a reservation team that can answer the phones. So yes, digitalization is absolutely important, but also there are certain things that you just need to keep in place, and maybe also for the longer run just have available to please your guests and to make sure that they book directly with you.
I just wanted to quickly add on to what Helen said about digitalization, but also kind of keeping certain things in place. And I think at the end of the day, that's also what the hospitality industry stands for, right? Of having the hospitality element. So you don't need to necessarily digitalize every single step of the way, but also make sure to have these personal touch points that make guests want to stay with you, right? Because at the end of the day, we're still going to hotels, going on vacation, staying somewhere to have this human interaction, to have this exchange. And I think that that's super important. And we shouldn't lose sight of all of that in the whole, let's say, tech world.
If you're thinking about the best interaction that you've had with support when booking a hotel, but maybe even just in general, what would be the most important things, or like what made this interaction so good for you?
For me, the most important part when if I'm going to customer support is that the other person, besides the fact that they solve the issue, is that they listen and they understand. So for me, empathy is the most important thing, because whatever the problem, there's always a solution. This is hospitality. It's a very human, and there needs to be a connection. And for me, that's the most important thing.